everybody. Welcome to NorCal Slot Car Scene's first look at the Revoslot Datsun 510. Probably the most anticipated car in a long time. We're going to take a look at the overall appearance of the car. We're also going to take a look at the specifications of the car to see how it compares with the other Group 2 sedans in the Revoslot line. When you first look at the car, it's absolutely gorgeous. Revoslot has done a great job with this car, and it's definitely worth the wait. The detailing is impeccable. The front of the car looks great. The Champion and the Valvoline logos on the headlight covers are crisp, as well as the Datsun logo inside the grille. The rear of the car looks great too, with the Datsun logo, the BRE logo, the fuel filler, the hood pins on the rear deck, the straps on the rear window, and the exhaust pipe coming out the lower left. The driver looks good too, even though the helmet's just a little bit plain. The interior looks good. There's the SCCA and the Trans Am logo on the rear window. When you look inside the interior, there's the gear shift lever and a fire extinguisher. I wasn't sure how they were going to do on the wheels because they're kind of a unique looking wheel from the Datsuns in the Trans Am series, but they did a great job. It's that two-tone look with kind of a gunmetal gray on the insert itself with a chrome surround ring on the wheel. It really looks good. When you look at the small details, there's even a tow hook underneath the bumper, just in case. In the rear, the fuel filler is a 3D piece, and it looks great. It's probably one of the first things that'll come off in a race, but it's a race car. Now let's take a look at the specifications of the Datsun compared to the other cars in the Revoslot Group 2 sedan series. The only ones that I have are the BMW and the Escort, so I'm going to compare those two to the Datsun. The Escort is very similar in dimensions to the Alpha and the Opel, so this will kind of give you an idea where the Datsun falls. First, probably the most important dimension on a slot car is the guide lead. That's the distance from the pivot point of the guide to the rear axle. On the Datsun, it's very similar to the Escort, just a little bit shorter. The BMW is the longest car of all the Revoslot Group 2 sedans, so a longer guide lead typically means the car is a little bit more stable. A shorter guide lead means it's a little bit more nimble, so there's a balancing act depending on the track you're running on, which one might be the best. Weight is obviously an important factor in a slot car, and the chassis are pretty much the same, so I weighed the body to see what the differences are. And the Datsun is right in the middle. The BMW is definitely the heaviest. The Escort that I have is 20.5 grams. It's the lightest, and it could be because it's a white kit. I've seen other white kits from Slotted where the white kit body is a little bit lighter, probably from the painting process. So keep that in mind when we're comparing the weights of the cars. The rear track is obviously important as well, and that helps with the stability of the car. And we're talking about the rear track from wheel to wheel, not the width of the body. You can see here that the BMW is extremely wide compared to the other two. The reason for that is that the BMW that I have is not this blue one, but it is the red BMW that has the wide wheel arches. I don't think you could get the width on the other BMWs, but that one red BMW allows you to push the wheels out a little bit further compared to pretty much all the other Revoslot cars. I did a video a while back comparing the 4 different body styles of the BMW 2002s, so there's a link above if you want to check that out. Because these are all sedans, the height of the car can be important. You don't want a car that's high is going to be top heavy. And they're all quite similar. And it's very difficult to measure this because of the way the roof is. There's a little bit of a curve on the roof. So I didn't actually measure it. But when you put them side by side, you can see that the BMW is slightly taller. The Datsun and the Escort, along with the Alpha and the Opel, are very similar in height. After looking at the dimensions, I think the Datsun will be right in the ballpark with my Escort, and I'm looking forward to getting it on the track this weekend. As many of you know, I also do vintage motorsports photography, and on the West Coast we have something called the Morton Cup, which is in tribute to John Morton, the driver of the number 46 BRE Datsun, and it's a throwback to what these cars were. the SCCA 2.5 liter Trans Am series. And on the West Coast, the Revoslot cars that they've produced in this first run are all being currently raced. Now the 46 and the 35 are recreations. I believe the 52 car is the original car. So those cars were all competing last year in vintage racing on the West Coast. Revoslot has just knocked it out of the ballpark with these Group 2 sedans. It's one of my favorite classes, and I want to thank them for bringing out all these cars. They're absolutely gorgeous. They all run very similar. The BMW, being the biggest, is right now the slowest of the two. I haven't got the Datsun on the track yet, but it's only about a tenth slower on the tracks that I've run on. So they're all right in the ballpark. It makes for a great series. If you've never run a Revoslot car, because of the metal chassis, they're very stable. They run great. And again, thanks Revoslot for bringing these out, and looking forward to racing the Datsun this weekend.